Hi, welcome to the Ellis Talker Show. I'm DV LeBron. Do you have construction needs? Maybe you need to get a pergola done. Maybe you need to get stuff done around the house. Check out Kanish Construction, where Chris Helms and Waxahachie, local guy, he'll take care of you. Let him know DV LeBron sent you. Today, my very special guest is the sheriff of Ellis County and chief law enforcement officer of the county, and that is Brad Norman. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, DB. How about yourself?
I'm good. We had some technical difficulties, but we're going to make this go through. I appreciate when you come on, Sheriff. For those that don't know you, because this county is growing, Sheriff, can you tell them a little quick bio on you and we'll jump into it?
Sure. My name is Brad Norman. I'm the sheriff of Ellis County. Been sheriff here for going on my fifth year. Just started my second term in January. And prior to that, I was with the Ellis County Sheriff's Office for almost 25 years. Started here as a deputy and ended up as the chief deputy. And I live here in Ellis County. I raise my family, my kids, my grandkids are here. Most of them are here in Ellis County. This is where I was placed to run the sheriff's office. And I've got a great group of men and women here that make me look good every day.
Yeah. And there's so many things that the sheriff's office is facing, so many challenges, because the county area is starting to look like city. They're building so much in the county, and it's not considered city, it's considered county, but you're dealing with those things. So I
All the
kind of
mud
want
districts,
all the mud district,
they're popping
right?
up everywhere, all over the county. Most of them are out in the county, not in the city limits, which means they're within my purview.
Sheriff, tell me, how are you dealing with, because being a sheriff and being a sheriff when you were a sheriff deputy and to being a sheriff now, I know the challenges are quite different. I want you to talk to people, Ellis County, the challenges that you're facing with this growth, as far as your deputies having to go out farther, maybe more violent calls. And we're going to get into the different types of crimes going in there, but just the challenges you're facing with this growth.
Growth does present us with a lot of challenges. And the biggest one that we're having right now is personnel. I've got 265 employees that work for the Ellis County Sheriff's Office. And a little over 100 of those are police officers, deputy sheriffs, and the rest are detention officers and civilian staff. I've got about 125 detention officers, and we're still having issues of getting enough detention staff to watch the inmates. We're still making our jail standards are 1 to 48. That's a ratio of one detention officer, 48 inmates. And we're making that, but we're doing it with some mandatory overtime and things like that. So we're trying to get people hired to be detention officers. And with this upcoming budget, the detention officer right out of high school, 18 years of age with no criminal history, can come in, and it's going to come in right about $58,000 a year. I don't know about you, DV, but I wasn't making $58,000 a year right out of high school.
No.
With county benefits, good insurance, those kinds of things. I wasn't worried about insurance and retirement and those kind of things when I was coming out of high school. But we've got openings. We're getting some people hired, but just not quick enough and not enough. We had about 36 openings about 6 months ago, and we're down to about 23 openings right now. So we're moving in the right direction. We're just not quite getting there fast enough. As far as deputies go, we've got about 6 or 7 right now openings. I do want to brag on our commissioner's court a little bit and our county judge. Todd Little left and John Ray came in as county judge. And I've met with him numerous times, and he and the commissioners and commissioners court, all of the commissioners. We've got the proposed budget that's filed right now that would hopefully, if it gets voted on in the near future, would go into effect October 1st. And in that budget, we've got deputies getting a pretty significant raise that they need for us to stay competitive. And when I say competitive, recruitment and retention are two huge issues. And I've got to be able to recruit new folks coming in that want to be police officers, want to be deputy sheriffs, but also have to be able to retain the ones I've got. And when they can go down the street to Waxahachie PD or Midlothian PD and make $15,000, $20,000 a year more money, that doesn't keep me competitive as an employer. So the commissioners and the judge filed a few weeks ago, and it will be voted on in the next couple of weeks, gets us back up into that competitive range. It's going to be about a 14% raise for my sworn deputies but that doesn't get us ahead of the pack. It just keeps us up with the pack so we can stay competitive. So
Tell me
I
about
want to brag on them for the.
tell me about the challenges that presents with the type of deputies you get. And I'm not downing any kind of deputy, they want to serve. But do you see maybe it's younger, you get less seasoned officers coming over and becoming deputies and stuff like that? Is that kind of what you get with that?
Sure, when your pay's not where it needs to be, your laterals, your police officers, your peace officers, Texas peace officers that are already certified, when they're going to leave an agency and go to somewhere else, they move into the area or whatever the case may be, they're going to look at the pay scale and they're going to go where they get the most pay. And what the Commissioners Court has just recently done and is in the process of ratifying this budget that Judge John Ray has proposed will help remedy that because it'll make us more competitive. We'll be making the same thing as Waxahachie and about the same thing as Midlothian. And those are the two biggest agencies in the county that I'll lose people to, or especially potential police officers. And look and see what they're making, what we're making. It's when they can go right down the street and make, like I said, $15,000, $20,000 a year more money. That's a big deal, especially to this younger generation. Work-life balance is a big deal. I was coming up. I've been a cop for over 25 years. When I was coming up, my dad always said, "Get it while the getting's good." I didn't pass up an overtime job or an off-duty job, whether I needed the money or not, because I knew I would at some point in time. And some of the younger generation, they'll work overtime or off-duty jobs enough to save up to buy a particular item or a particular whatever they're wanting to, and then they'll go back to not working it again, just doing the 40 hours a week or 80 hours a pay period or whatever. And that's just the difference in generation these days. But dude,
When I'm sorry, when you're
we're going to
when
be in a
you're
much
burnt-
better place here.
right.
Good.
Yeah, no, and when you're burnt out, it's hard to, and it will burn you out. When you're doing overtime after overtime, it will burn you out. And that's a thing to be said about the pay. Now, one of the things that you talked to me before on the budget was the jail, that you needed help as far as the jail was concerned, the facility and stuff. Is that something that you were able to get addressed in this budget, or is that something that the commissioners are looking at?
I'm sorry, you cut out just a little bit. What about the jail in particular, did you say?
You had told me about the jail needing repairs and other things, and you were going to talk about funding for that.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about that.
Yes. I'm sorry, I just didn't hear the word funding. Yes, we've addressed that with the Commissioners Court and with the county judge, and they've done a great job of getting us what we need to get those things taken care of and get the repairs that we need made. It's just part of it. When you're in an aging facility, part of this building was built in 1991, part of it in 2000, another part in 2010. No, excuse me, that's not even right. 2001 in the 90s, and in 2001, it's just an aging facility, and there's always constant need of repairs and whatnot. But no, I've got no qualms with the Commissioners Court in getting us the funds and the money we need to make the repairs. And as things break, we're fixing them, and that's the best we can do. I know in the somewhat near future, there's been talks about looking at building a new jail out at the county farm out on 878. County owns about 450 acres out there. It's where my patrol division, train division's out there now, and the county farm, known as the county farm. And I think that'll start looking. Actually, the Commissioners Court just agreed in court a few weeks ago to spend some money to start designing that and start getting the vision of what we need and what we're going to have to build a new facility. But no, they're doing a good job of keeping us going at the moment, without a doubt.
One of the things that you had mentioned before were substations, Sheriff, because your sheriffs are having to cover large areas. Is that something that you see happening in the future?
Yeah. So with every new building that the county has been putting in or is in the process over the next however many years, in those buildings, you're going to have told me that we dedicate some space to the sheriff's office to be able to have some substation, But anyway, yes, that's something that's in the works. And any of the new buildings that they're planning will have an area that we can utilize in those buildings for sure.
Sheriff, let's talk about crime. Definitely why I wanted to have you on to talk about crime in the county. One of the things that the sheriff's office has been involved very much is in sex trafficking, human trafficking. I talked with Ellis County Child Advocacy before about your
Yep.
work in that field, and I want you to talk to the people of Ellis County about that and what's going on in that.
Yes, so we do work very closely with the Ellis County Child Advocacy Center, Tim Jackson Center, as well as the Heights, which is more about battered women and that type of thing. But I knew what one of the things you wanted to talk about, so I prepared some stats for the show tonight. Calls for service for the entire agency. This is all statistics from January 1st of this year to September 5th of this year. Calls for service, we've got 13,269 calls for service this year so far. Traffic stops is 4,794. Arrests made by Ellis County Sheriff's Office is 280 this year, and it transports is 409. Investigations assigned to our CID unit year to date. 339 of those are adult crimes against persons, which is a slight decrease from 2024, but it's really too early to tell if that's a trend or not. So far in 2025, we've investigated 1 homicide, and whereas in 24, we worked 3 homicides in 24. Crimes against children, which is one of the things that you're talking about, where some of that trafficking and especially the child sex crimes and stuff is involved. We worked 67 of those crimes, which again is a slight decrease from 24. From January to September, we've done 118 financial crimes or fraud cases, which again is a slight decrease from 24. And then 295 property crimes. So that's thefts and burglaries and those types of deals. And again, those property crimes is a slight decrease of 24. All these are still since September, right? So we're still a little too early to call it to say that the crime's overall down in every one of these categories, but that's the way it's trending at the moment. The other thing is on the fraud trends, scams involving people impersonating members of law enforcement and calling them, telling them they missed jury duty, or scamming them into posting bonds via Bitcoin or ATM machines. Those are rampant. We put posts on our social media all the time about those because we get those calls every single day. We do not ever call somebody from the sheriff's office and call you and say, hey, DV, you missed jury duty. You don't want to go to jail. You got to pay me this much money. Go get Bitcoin or go to your ATM machine and get this money. That's not how we operate. We don't do that. We don't call people and solicit funds for anything, fines, or threaten to put people in jail over the phone over anything like that. And we get them and they prey on the elderly folks. They do. Where they get their people's numbers and how they know who people are or what, if they have any money or not, I don't know. But they definitely seem to prey on older folks. They are the ones that fall for those scams the most often. But we get those calls every single day. So if you ever get a call from the sheriff's office saying, hey, you missed jury duty, or you missed this, or we've got a warrant for your arrest because of this, that, or the other, you hang up on them and call us back. 972-937-6060. That's our dispatch center. And ask them, did you just call me? This is such and such. This is whatever. And we'll tell you, because we just don't operate that way. But that's the biggest scam we got going on. The other thing is romance scams. People develop relationships with other people online and convince them they need money for medical bills or investment opportunities or whatever. And we had a recent one that was reported that lost over $400,000 because they were in love with this person that they've never even met before because they met them on the internet and they scammed them out of $400,000. Back to property crimes. Excuse me. The storage facility burglaries often unattended and go unnoticed for weeks or even months because people don't know that they've been burglarized. So they go to their storage facility and they realize, oh my gosh, my stuff that was in my storage facility is missing. Those kinds of things. Those are a big deal. That and construction thefts. We've got so much new construction in these new neighborhoods and these mud districts and stuff going on all across the county. So if you've got houses being built in your neighborhood, your facility, keep an eye on that. There shouldn't be anybody out there at 2 o'clock in the morning saying they're the plumber coming to pick up or drop off materials. You know what I'm saying? That's just not reasonable. If you see something like that, call us, let us check it out. More than likely they're out there thieving, trying to steal stuff. And then things we've talked about in past shows, DV, is narcotics. Narcotics are still, they're everywhere. They're in every community. They're in every city. They're in every area of the United States. Any police chief or county sheriff that tells you we don't have a drug problem in our county or in our city is a liar. It's there. Now, they may not have open drug sales, and which is good. You don't want that. You don't want that in your community. Absolutely. But when I hear people say we don't have a drug problem, we don't have drugs in our community, that's bullcorn.
Are your deputies facing a lot of calls for fentanyl overdoses? And are your deputies, do they have Narcan? I probably asked you that before.
We have Narcan in every single car. Every single deputy has Narcan issued to them. We keep them in every single vehicle that we have. We've used it numerous times. So far this year to date, we've responded to 9 overdose calls for service, 3 known overdose deaths, and 2 we're still waiting on the cause of death from the medical examiner's office. So that 3 could go to 5. But narcotics, just to give you an example, cocaine, this year, again, this is January 1st to September 5th of this year, we've seized 2,032 grams of cocaine.
Wow.
Crack cocaine's 23 grams. Fentanyl, 6.5 grams, which is down from last year. We had pretty decent fentanyl seizure here last year. Methamphetamine is still the king in this area with 7,599 grams of meth. Is definitely the most prevalent drug that we recover locally. THC, which is the chemical compound that's in marijuana, large increase of liquid and the THC vapes, all that. We got 1,224 grams of THC. Marijuana, just regular old, what we know is just marijuana weed, whatever, little over 17 pounds. Heroin, 4.4 gross grams. Psilocybin is a huge increase this year, 1,520 grams of psilocybin, which is an hallucinogen, mushrooms, that kind of stuff. PCP, again, about normal. We got 49 gross grams so far this year. We've got a very active narcotics unit in Ellis County, and my history, I spent 15 years working dope, 7 of that at DEA, at North Texas HIDA, assigned to DEA. That's something we're never going to not be pursuing, not be fighting that down and fighting the war on drugs. That's something we'll always continue to do. And I've got a fully trained group. Our SIU is what we call Special Investigation Unit. They do all our narcotics investigations, and they do a bang up job keeping it where there's no open air drug sales in Ellis County, that kind of thing. But
You've
no,
been
that's
busy.
Yes, sir. We have
You,
been busy.
you guys
100%.
been busy. I'm really surprised to hear about the cocaine because that's a luxury drug, but it gets where it gets, right?
Yeah. Yes. I've seen every race, every sex, race, any of that stuff doesn't matter. Every socioeconomic group can be, any one of those can be addicted to any one of these things. Addiction doesn't play the race card or the sex card or the how much money you got card. You know what I'm saying? It really doesn't. I've taken methamphetamine out of $1 million homes. Cocaine, same thing. Doesn't matter. People get addicted to these things, and I've seen lives destroyed over that stuff many times in my career. And anything I can do to prevent that and to keep families together and to help make it where that's not accessible and those types of things we're gonna continue to do. We're gonna continue to fight that fight.
Sheriff, when you run into different people throughout the county, or maybe your deputies, do they sometimes, when you catch them with marijuana, do they sometimes think that it's legal and what's the big deal? Is that kind of you're running into with the younger kids?
Maybe what's the big deal? No, I think the majority of people in Texas still know marijuana is illegal in Texas. If they move here from a state where it's legal and they move to Texas, if marijuana is a big deal to them, they're going to notice real quick. There's no dispensaries here. There's no whatever. I think the majority of them know that. I don't know that we've heard too many people say, oh, I didn't know. We just moved here in Colorado where it's legal. I'm sure people would try to do that if they thought it would work. But yeah, I think especially the younger crowd believes that it shouldn't be a big deal. It shouldn't be illegal until the legislature changes the laws. We're enforcing the laws. We're not letting small,
Now,
small amounts of marijuana, or we're not tossing it on the side of the road, or we're not doing any of that kind of stuff. So it's still illegal in Texas. If you get caught with it, you're going to jail.
Sheriff, I didn't get to ask you too much about, because we went into all the different stats, but with the child sex crimes, or you said that you're seeing less of them, and that's a wonderful thing. What are some of the things that parents need to watch out for that you've ran into with these kids getting trafficked, getting kidnapped, getting the different things that your deputies have run into?
Yeah. So, like I said, 67 crimes against children this year, which is a slight decrease from 24. I wish it was a huge decrease, but it's not. But it is a slight decrease. And anything that we can do, like I said, we work very closely with the Child Advocacy Center. We do forensic interviews frequently, and some of the trafficking cases that we've done over the past few years, we've worked in conjunction with the Child Advocacy Center, and I can't say enough about what they do. Matter of fact, let me give them some props. They've got a skeet shoot, a clay shoot coming up this month, towards the end of September. Go to Ellis County Children's Advocacy Center, go to their Facebook page or whatever, find out all about it. But they need our support. And I'll be out there volunteering, helping with those. I'm on the board of directors for the Advocacy Center, and they truly have a special place in my heart, the job that they do and helping our kids. I'm all about that.
I hope to have Miss Dean on soon again to talk about the great stuff that they do, because they have been doing stuff for children in this community for some time. Great work that they do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Sheriff, in kind of closing, and I do apologize, folks, for just the technical difficulties, and I appreciate the sheriff's time and patience with all this. But, Sheriff, just in closing, can you go ahead and speak to the people of Ellis County and just have the last word?
Absolutely. A lot of folks may not know what the sheriff's office does, how we do it, how we operate. All is I live in the city of Ennis, and we've got a police department. I live in the city of Red Oak. We've got a police department. Every one of those departments we work with very closely, and they do a phenomenal job. Our job, for as far as answering calls of service and those types of things, when people call 911, if you live in the county, you don't live inside the city limits, you call 911, we're coming. If you live, say, I'll use Ennis as an example. You live in the city of Ennis, you call 911, Ennis Police Department's coming. But we work with those agencies every day. They back us up. We back them up. We also have, we run the county jail, which is one of the biggest responsibilities that I have as sheriff. And we have the county jail. So it doesn't matter what city you have. You may have a holding facility in your city. Ennis does, Midlothian does, Red Oak does. But you're going to be there more than about 24 hours. You're coming to the big jail. You're coming to see my folks at the Ellis County Detention Center, William McCollum Detention Center, Ellis County Sheriff's Office. So that's a big part of what we do. I'm a big advocate and believer in customer service. Majority of the people we deal with every day are really good people having a bad day. And then occasionally we deal with really bad people, and that happens too. and we deal with those people accordingly and appropriately. But for the most part, we're able to help people. My deputies don't pass people up when they got a flat tire, especially a young woman or an elderly couple with a flat tire. We're going to help change the tire. I believe customer service is still here, and I believe it still applies for the sheriff's office. So we strive to be a very good and professional agency, and I think I've got some of the best deputies and detention staff and civilian staff around. And my goal is for Ellis County Sheriff's Office to be one of the premier law enforcement agencies in the state. And we're not going to back up off of that. I appreciate each one of you. I appreciate the support that we have. One more thing, DV. I know we talked about this on the show before, but just make me think about it. Back when defund the police was going around a few years ago, and all that kind of stuff. If you're in uniform, in an Ellis County Sheriff's Office uniform, and you go to any restaurant or any place in Ellis County, there wasn't a single time during that time that somebody didn't come up and offer to buy you a meal, to pay for your meal or whatever. No, you don't have to do it. He said, no, we want to. We want you to know we're not like those people that are wanting to defund the police. So we don't have that problem in Ellis County. I'm thankful that we don't have that problem in Ellis County, and hopefully we never see that. I think we've got really good, strong citizens that support what we do in law enforcement, and I'm grateful for that.
I'm thoroughly grateful for this community and the way that it supports law enforcement. It has been a really good experience as far as when it comes to that. But Sheriff, thanks a lot again for coming back on. Can you stick around after the show real quick?
You bet. Absolutely.